everybody, and welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. As always, I'm Alec Caberna, but now, for the first time ever, not joining me today is Matt, no Mike. We got special guests, first guest on the Casual Sports Podcast since ever, Noah Ricks, Ian O.B., and we got a special day because it's high school football day. Guys, you're the first guest ever. How does it feel?
Feels good. Let me just tell you that right now. Am I the meathead then since Matt's not gone or what?
You might be. I think it might be a good fit. We'll see. Well, we do hand out, Meathead of the Week award. So for you guys that don't know, Meathead of the Week, basically the biggest idiot in the sports world from the last week, biggest screw up, whatever it is. And I'm going to hand it out here early in the show. This week's Meathead of the Week, as it covers up OB down there at the bottom. Sorry about that, buddy. But I'm giving it out to whoever is in charge of scheduling NFL practices for putting the two teams from the Super Bowl in a joint practice to finish out the preseason because it turned into a massive fight. So
Aaron Donald over here pulling out his best Miles Garrett, except those don't one. He's got two.
Right. No, he was dual wielding those helmets.
Well, I think if you guys this fight was not as ferocious as you guys remember the Miami FIU fight back in 2006?
I remember that. I've seen that before.
Oh, that was a ferocious. I saw that one.
That was a ferocious
police
brawl.
Officers there and everything like that, and as they had to escort them all off the field. I mean, imagine that at the beginning.
One color commentator I remember. I think he got fired for encouraging the fight. It was just a massive bloodbath, just a brawl down. And it was just very ugly, Miami and FIU. And it looked like a rivalry was born on that night of 2006. But, yeah, going back to the Bengals-Rams, Aaron Donald just using two helmets. Yeah, he is, going full Miles Garrett, like OB mentioned. And he may be making Miles Garrett proud.
I don't know about that one. We've had a lot of meatheads in sports this week. We can't talk about all of them, but it has been a crazy week in sports news when it comes to people not being smart. I think best way to put it there. But guys, let's bring it back around. Let's go local. That's why I brought you guys both on today. Both local products. You've been in the region for a while. OB, you played high school football. Noah, did you ever play in high school too?
No, I was in the band, but I was a team manager for Southington Chalker out in the country.
Well, there we go. So I bring on two experienced guys from the region to help me out on the show today. So first one, we're going to go into South Range at University School. We saw South Range open up last week, a really solid performance against Springfield, the team we'll be talking about later that I'm going to be seeing today against the Brookfield Warriors. But guys, South Range 37-7 over to Springfield. They're going up against University School, who also opened 1-0 in their first game, beating the Columbus Academy 34-13, ranked in the state of Ohio at 376th. South Range ranked in Ohio at 39th. So pretty quickly, you look at numbers. South Range headed in as a clear favorite. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Well, who wants to go first, me or Rex? I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. You started talking first.
The University School won their last game 34-13. They actually beat the Columbus Academy Vikings in that one. Really good win for them. But as you said, South Range 37-7 against Springfield. A lot of people picked South Range for this one, and why not? They're always so explosive with passing the ball, running the ball. I feel like this is going to be South Range for this one. I feel like University will put up a little bit of a fight, but I don't think they'll. I think at the second half, you'll see just South Range just pull away from them.
And of course, like you said, OB, South Range, very explosive, very powerful, and going against a good Springfield team. Of course, Springfield, as we know, they did lose some key players. Of course, Bo Brungard is now playing at YSU. He graduated in Springfield. Hopefully they can get a little up in the ranks, but going back to South Range, yeah, they are always loaded year in and year out. So I'm going to say I go with South Range in this game over University School, and I think they will go to 2-0 on the year.
Those are both solid, analysis there. I like it here. A little bit different than what Matt and Mike normally go with. I like it. But going into this one, man, South Range, they're already looking really good this year. They're high up in the YSN power rankings. A lot of people excited to what this team can do. No Dylan Dominguez this year, but at least in game one, they didn't seem to slow down at all from his production last year.
Yeah, definitely not. And right now, South Range is just still power. They're always a good team when it comes to D5. They're just hard to stop all the time. It seems like they're always the only thing that South Range is always has to get better at. It seems is just the postseason because they always come up just a little bit short. You know what I mean? You always have that good regular season, but then the postseason it's just a different ballgame. Now it depends. Are we going to see that again? Are we going to see them go almost basically undefeated until postseason comes, or is this finally the year where South Range will get that state championship?
That's a great question. Currently ranked second in Division 5 via Max Preps. You look ahead at their schedule, maybe a couple teams that can challenge them, but Canton Central Catholic should be fun. We'll see how Struthers continues. They look pretty good in their first game. Poland, I don't think will put up a fight against South Range. If Gerard turns this season into something fun, that could definitely be a matchup to watch out. They looked good in their first one, but they've been a little on and off. Kind of mid-tier last couple of years.
Yeah, Niles later on, depending on what happens with like Antoine Gardner, their new quarterback Anthony Budock as well from Olmsted up at Cleveland. So that's another team that you have to look out for when those two play. Stay healthy, of course.
Yeah, then you got Lakeview a little bit later, and they already have a big upset. They got the upset week 1 over LeBray. They have a chance to get another big upset this week. If Lakeview starts putting some upsets together and pushes this all the way down, that could be a game to watch October 14th. But probably Hubbard, the biggest threat to the season for South Range later in the year.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Hubbard could be like the biggest challenge. But as Obi mentioned, it depends on the postseason. Hopefully they can get to that coveted state championship that they've always been looking for. Of course, they got a storied tradition, of course, for a school as small as South Range, but they do know how to play their football year in and year out, and I think it's just going to come down to the matter of fact of can they finish the games, can they finish in the postseason, and I think that's going to be like the turning point of the South Range season.
Fair enough, guys. All right, I'm taking South Range in this one as well. We're repping the YSN team. Homers today is what we're going with. Next one onto our list. OB, this is your game. Alliance at Niles. I'll set it up and hand it over to you. Niles beat Howland that first game 21-7. Alliance, the Aviators, lost their first one to Lake Uniontown 41-14. OB, take it away.
Yeah, and I actually do have some stats. Actually, if I can find them right in here, this whole pile I have, here they are. But honestly, when I looked at the stats, it didn't look like the quarterback position really struggled much over here for Alliance. I mean, at their quarterback position, it's not too bad when you think about it. I mean, you have a few guys. Brennan Serbrug, I think his name is. Yeah, you have to look at him. Of course, their starting guy is one of the key players you have to look out for. He threw for over 200 yards in that loss actually against Lake. He threw for 200 yards and he rushed for 2 touchdowns. So honestly, it's kind of like a little bit when I want to say Russell Wilson was with the Seahawks. You know what I mean? Later on, he's a great player, but what are his key guys around him like? So you have to look out for that with Alliance. For that team, you have to see what they could do, what Coach Goodman can do with that team. If they could finally beat Niles, the last time they actually beat Niles was 2004. I think they won that game. It was 35-21 or something like that. So, and again, for Niles, they played really well against Howland. There were chances, though, where they could have even extended the score. They have to learn how to finish a lot. Give the ball to Gardner. Don't try and get anything going. You know what I mean? They could have won that game probably like 42-7, I thought. They had chances, but they mismatched a little bit. They had the turnover on downs, a missed field goal, and a fumble in the red zone. So they have to get better at that. Now, for the defensively on Niles, I mean, it's just stacked that you have to look at. Once again, Nathan Coots, Nick Velez on defense. He's going to be a guy to watch out for. You're going to have to look, of course, Matt Keeley. He's super good. I mean, that's a man who Hankling's like 250 over here, can squat like 500 pounds like it's no problem. So, I mean, that man, it's a big boy you have to watch out for right there, Matt Keeley. I mean, you got so many other players that you have to look out for on the Niles team. It all comes in the defense with Coach Barrett and that Larry Kemp defense. Shout out to Coach Kemp, by the way, that you have to look out for.
All right, great breakdown there to start it out. I got to add this one, though, with that quarterback, the junior Zerbrug for that Alliance team. To your point about him doing amazing, 21 of 24. Completions to attempt there for that 224 yards, 87.5%. But to your point about no weapons around him, he didn't throw for a single touchdown in that game. He ran for 2 of them, and he ran a total of 110 yards, like you were saying. So he's a really talented guy, and Niles going to have to go into this game shutting down Zerbrug, and that's going to have to be, point of the attack. Main focus is there. On defense, though, they got a couple nice guys over there, or some young guys in Fast, Eddie, and Zumbar.
Jackson Eddie. Jackson Eddie, Diophion Jones, I think his name is, if I'm pronouncing that right. And, of course, Exterion Williamson, too, the senior, the DB you have to look at here as well. Which, now that I've done that name a bunch of times, I pronounce that name, I know for a fact I'm not going to mess it up tonight.
All right. Love that. Yeah, but double-digit tackles for all those guys last year, or last game. And sacks, I think they didn't have any sacks, but they put pressure on the quarterback. They had 3 hurries in that game.
Yeah, I think they hurried the QB for Lake 3 times total. So
I think it's going to be a hard one for Niles going into it. Probably, hardest test of the season. We'll see how Howland moves. Their offense didn't really quite get going last year, and you kind of saw that a little bit in that first game. So we'll see if they turn in a better offensive performance this week. But Niles, Division 4 team, ranked 47th in Division 4. They're ranked in the top 25 in the Youngstown region as well. So they're going to be a strong team this year. I got Niles taking this one.
And Alec, as well, since they're D4 now, they have I would say maybe a little bit easier time to make the playoffs because, again, D3, that's all on points and all on wins like they were in the past. Now that they're D4, you can maybe get away with say if there were a couple more losses or some other teams winning and still making it in, especially with the playoff extension that they have now, the bracket extension.
And I think Niles, it's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be a fierce rivalry. Of course, Alliance has a lot to prove. Now, unfortunately, we had some sad news. Alliance alumni Len Dawson passed away Wednesday at the age of 87, and I think they're going to play with a lot of motivation for their fallen hero, Len Dawson, who was a very good quarterback back in the heyday, back in the 60s with the Chiefs, Browns, and Steelers, and should be a good game, should be a fun one to watch, but I think I got Niles winning this one in a shootout about 35-31.
Ooh, throwing the score in there. I like it.
Yeah, it's always a close game between those two teams is a thing. 2019, I think it was 32-28. Last year was 19-16. So I think both these, it's, honestly, it's going to always be a close one. We'll just have to see what happens.
Just seems like Niles always has the upper edge.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if they do this time out. Next game, we're going to hand it over to mine, actually. Brookfield is heading into Springfield. Brookfield opened up their first game with a 52-14 loss against a team that was just in a state championship last year in Ursulin. That probably should have won that game as well in that state championship. So it was a hard matchup. Brookfield's getting the benefit of that game as well. When you look at their strength of schedule rating compared to some of the other teams around them in Division 6, they're currently ranked number 16th in Division 6. Number 1 Youngstown team in Division 6 as well with that ranking. And a big part of that, despite the fact they lost, their strength of schedule is 13.2. The team above them in Patrick Henry that is undefeated 1-0 has a strength of schedule of negative 42.2. So Brookfield getting a lot of credit for that loss to a really good Ursulin team last week. Coming in here today against a Springfield team, as we mentioned a little earlier, lost a lot of guys. They lost 8 of their 9 all-league players from a season ago after a Final Four appearance. It seems like just another deep postseason run for that Springfield squad. But Springfield, they did the same thing Brookfield did. Let's open up hard. And both these teams, I think, were just eyeing one another for that week 2 matchup. Last year, it was 20-14. Brookfield came out on top, Brookfield on the losing end of that. Springfield narrowly won it. I think the touchdown to win it, I believe, was Bo Brungard going deep to the back corner for Shondale Gardner to win it later in that game. Springfield, though, offense really struggled in that first game, and seeing Colton Rourke taking the snaps, really first time for him in that position after Bo Brungard's departure in the offseason. He's going to have to be a lot more comfortable. He's going up against a little bit of a lesser caliber defense here with Brookfield, but don't be mistaken. This is a Brookfield team. I know they had 52 hung up on them in week 1, but they are very good, and they've returned I think all but 3 guys that graduated that started in that last season. So they returned so much talent, Springfield lost a lot of guys, and Springfield won with a lot of those depth positions that they don't have this year. Shondell Gardner's the big guy that returns, and he's the guy in this game I think you have to just constantly watch for. Springfield's the number 10 team in Division 7. They took a step back from last year when they were in Division 6. They moved to Division 7 despite, being in the Final Four, so they should absolutely tear through Division 7 this year, especially when they get to the postseason, like I'm sure they will. They're the number 2 team in Division 7 here on YSN. Warren JFK sits a little bit higher than them in the rankings on Max Preps. They got a really impressive roster all the way around, but like I was saying, I think this game goes by how comfortable Colton Rourke can be. They tried running the football last week. They only averaged 2 yards per carry. They have to be better if they're going to beat Brookfield. You can't be one-dimensional and beat this team. That being said, Springfield still got to spread the field, get Shondell Gardner in one-on-one scenarios, because if you let Brookfield double and triple team him because he's your number 1 guy and he kind of cooked him a little bit last year, it's not going to be a productive day for this Springfield offense. But all in all, this is going to be a really fun game. It's in Springfield. I'm on the call, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, with this game, Brookfield, Springfield, those 2 teams are always, it seems like a match, I want to say, together right there. It's always with those 2 teams, always a neck-and-neck game. I feel like since you said last year, Springfield won, honestly, the turns are going to tables, as Michael Scott would say from The Office, how the turntables. You're going to see Brookfield in this one winning. It's going to be another close one. I feel like they pull it out in the end against Springfield. Springfield falls to 0-2 on the season. But Springfield, again, I feel like in the later half season, they'll get better. It's just a process right now. Brookfield goes to 1-1, and then I think that's when they really take off after that. Because once they win, there's no going back with them. They got the momentum on their side.
And I think Springfield, it's not going to be about, are they going to rebuild? But is it if they are going to reload in time? Because Brookfield, as you mentioned, is not going to be an easy task. Brookfield will come at you. And the fact that they were able to score two touchdowns last week against a very good, high-powered Ursulin team that I believe is maybe 2 divisions ahead of them, that is very impressive. They are. They can definitely not go down with shame, not go down with their heads down. And I think Brookfield, they will have some good scares, but I think Springfield just pulls it out in a very close one, I believe by just 1 point.
Cool, 1 point game. Well, I hope you're right. I just hope it goes the other way around. I want to see the Warriors take this.
At the end, I'll predict that right now.
What's that, OB?
I said I'll predict that the 1 point will be the 2-point conversion at the end, maybe 2 seconds left to go.
Ooh. Well, I hope you guys are right about how great this game is going to be. Brookfield, that last week, it wasn't a great game for them against Ursulin, but to your point there, Ricks, they put up 14 points against maybe the best team in the region. They were in a state championship, and it was a game that Brookfield had that touchdown early on. It was 21-7 as Ursulin just poured it on at the beginning, especially. Brookfield got that touchdown. Ursulin went, we don't like that. Did an onside kick after they had scored a touchdown because it was 14-7. I had the onside kick, got the ball back, and then put up another touchdown and completely put Brookfield away. But Donovan Pulowski maintains to be that guy you got to watch for this Brookfield team. He wasn't great last week, just 5 of 14 against that Ursulin defense, which was phenomenal. Had 2 interceptions. He's got to clean it up. He will. These guys, they know each other. That's why this is going to be such a great matchup. And from the sounds of it, you guys like Springfield a little bit in this game. I like Brookfield, and I think I might like him by 10 points as well. I want to see Cole Saloom out there to add on some damage to it.
He might add on damage. We'll just have to see what happens. I don't know how big the damage will be, though.
I don't know. It could be fun. I want to see Cole Saloom get a game-winning kick. I love kickers. One of the most important positions in football.
I used to be one, so.
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah, down to the wire. In the clutch.
They get called on in the biggest spots. Sometimes they don't get enough credit. All the kickers only ever get hate up until Evan McPherson hit those important ones last year and started putting some swagger behind the kicker's name. No one was giving them the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I feel like
Justin kickers.
With them, but.
Yeah, I believe kickers, like you said, they don't get the credit they deserve, but I do think like they really take a lot of time. Some of them are soccer players. Some of them are just football players. They take their time, just practice when everyone else is practicing on their own time, And I think the hard work will pay off. As you mentioned, Evan McPherson really putting a lot of respect on that name for the Bengals last season. Really helped the Bengals go to the Super Bowl, actually. So you got to put some respect on that. And I think this game will go down to a game-winning kick in Springfield's favor. It's going to be a good one, and hopefully Springfield can pull it out.
Now, someone's going to pull Evan McPherson and decide to watch and listen to the band, I guess, on the sideline.
Hey, Brookfield's got a pretty good one. We'll see if they travel with it. Next game, though, for us, this is a huge one. Austintown Fitch getting another mega game here early in the season. They take on a team from Las Vegas, Nevada last week that had a good amount of Division I recruits on it. Absolutely took them to the woodshed. And now they have one of the most prestigious teams in the state of Ohio coming in Canton McKinley, who, obviously just hosted the Hall of Fame game for the NFL. They host the state championships. I was there in the basketball season for the Elite Eight and Sweet 16s, and this should be a great game. I mean, Fitch has looked really good this season so far, and I'd go so far to say they should be number one in the power rankings after that week 1 demolition of a top 10 Las Vegas team who goes up against the likes of Bishop Gorman that pretty much sends their entire team to Division I schools. But McKinley, they did lose their first game of the season, except they lost to Menor, so you can't really be upset by that because Menor is got Canton McKinley, you got Menor, you got Kirtland, you got all those big dogs in the state. Right. And, Menor won it by 13 points last week, but this maintains a phenomenal Canton McKinley school as well, ranked 22nd in Division I. It's going to be a tough test for the number 14 team in Division II in Austintown Fitch. If anyone's going to pull it off, though, it's going to be these guys.
Yeah, I agree that Fitch will pull it off. I think Fitch will pull it off. As you saw, they put a 32-point margin on that Las Vegas team. They won 42-10. I think Fitch is going to be a team to be reckoned with this year. They got a lot of explosive guys. I think they got some D1 recruits, but going in against a very prestigious school, as you mentioned, like Canton McKinley, should be a very good game. But I believe Fitch will have the upper edge. I believe they may win this one by 14, 15 points.
Yeah, if you're looking right now, Austintown Fitch, I mean, last year they beat Cam McKinley pretty good, 42-28. So we're just going to see really what happens right there. Again, as you said, Alec and Noah, Cam McKinley, I feel like they're back to where they were just a few years ago before Coach Reardon left for Ursulin. They're back to their winning ways a bit. So maybe they'll have a little more room over here. Maybe you can see an upset against Fitch. But I feel like Fitch, though, has so much talent. And of course, you have to look at Xavier Dawn, Ursulin transfer, who's there right now in the linebacker position or lineman position. Really talented player on the defensive end. I feel like Fitch in this one, they take it.
I like the picks, guys. Keeping it homer for this one. Next game, Cheney at Boardman. A lot of people like this Cheney team this season. Then they got some really great players. Matt Jones, the young quarterback. You got Jackson Hewlett back there, wide receiver, DB, really great. He's already committed to Cincinnati, so he'll go be playing for the Fighting Pickles next year. They did lose some key players on that D-line in Tennington and Wilson, and that's the only concern I have when they go up against a bigger school like Boardman is, are they going to have pass rush in this game to go up against a Division II school? They are D3, but I get a little worried. Boardman's not the best at the moment. They got a tight win against Mooney, but I still don't know how to feel about that win because I think I need to see more of what Mooney is this season. I think this is going to be really close. I think Boardman's got a solid defense, and I think it's just going to come down to whether or not Cheney can make those big plays when it counts.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens right there. But you talk about Jason Hewlett for a second over here, Alec. Before he even committed to Cincinnati, look at all these other offers. Boston College, Kentucky, NC State, Toledo. I think Virginia Tech was up there too. So this is a man over here with D1 talent. You said the young quarterback, Max Jones, Jason Hewlett. I mean, that's a tandem to be reckoned with. Last year, it was different. Again, new coach over here this year, and he was actually from Boardman, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really good right there. And I think you're going to have a lot of more I want to say experience on that end of the Cheney side of the ball. And another thing with Cheney over here that you have to look at is just how powerful they are and fast they are. Because last year they had so many injuries on their end. You know what I mean? They had the injury bug plague them, and that kind of ruined their season. This year, everyone's healthy. Jason Hewlett's healthy now. You proved it in the last game against Poland how healthy it is. So in this one, you just got to give me the Cowboys. I mean, I just think there's no stopping this team. I made the assumption over here. I think I was with Noah on the call. Don't be surprised if Cheney goes to state this year.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bold one.
And
I do remember you saying that.
It's bold, but again, if they stay healthy, don't be surprised.
Yeah, Cheney, I think they are a very good team this year. You saw they really handed it to Poland last week, and I think they should have some explosive power. Of course, you said guys like Jason Hewlett coming up to play. I believe Mac Jones, the quarterback. But Boardman, as you said, in a little bit of a downhill spiral, kind of, but it's always a changing of the guard with Coach DJ Doda in his first year. It's always first game jitters, just getting it out of the way. They were able to squeak out the win, but I think I'm going to have to go with a high offensive power in Cheney. They end up winning this one 17-7.
Okay, I like the low scoring in this. I definitely think you're on the right track there. I'm going a little bit more in it. Not sure what Cheney's defense is going to be this week. They held up well against Poland, but I don't think Poland quite the caliber offense of Boardman. So I'll go Cheney in this one, but I think it's 20-16.
Yeah, I agree with that.
2016. I like that. I think Cheney, I just feel like, maybe it's going to be close in the third quarter, but then they'll just pull away. So I was going to guess maybe like 24-7 or something like that.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
Definitely. East Liverpool, the Potters back in action. They shocked a lot of people with that week 1 victory over Minerva, 44-7. They got Indian Creek going into it today. Indian Creek comes in 0-1 as they dropped their first game of the season against Cambridge, 28-0. I think a pretty quick pick here for me. I'm going the Potters in this game. They were really impressive against Minerva. I think they double down.
Yeah, I think the Potters will get this one as well. Indian Creek is a good football school, but I think East Liverpool, they just got so much talent down there, down by the river, down by the Ohio River. And East Liverpool, I think, ends up pulling away. I think 20-7 will be your score. It'll be a little close, but I think they'll pull away in the fourth.
I just think Indian Creek really doesn't have much offense. They have a little bit of a defense, but not a whole lot of offense. And I feel like that's going to play in a bad factor for them, especially later on in the game. You got to get me in this one, the Potters over here. I feel like they're just going to pull away, and they're just not going to hold back anything. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if it's a shutout, but we'll just have to see what happens.
I'd like to see that. Give the Potters a great start to the season if that happens. Next one up, Western Reserve at Conneaut. Reserve opened up week 1, taking on a pretty good Liberty team. I think Liberty, surprised some people. No DC Farrell this year. He went over to Ursulin. Losing a guy that you found, diamond in the rough there, finding a young guy on the team to take over after, you lose your quarterback from last year. What?
Yeah, especially because DC Farrell was kind of, I wouldn't say one of the replacements, but he was kind of the guy who was taking over that helm next to like Trey Rushton when he was at Liberty too. So I feel like
so they get him. Now they lose him to Ursulin, and they find somebody else who I think, in his first game, not too bad. 20 points against this Western Reserve team that brings in a really great coach as well.
They kept it close for a little bit there too, till about the fourth quarter when we're pulled away. So in this one over here, we're just going to have to see what happens over here with the Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ricks.
Yeah, I think the Blue Devils pull it out. Of course, they haven't been like the explosive team that they were in the Andy Hake era, but I do think they still have the decent football prestige, at least, especially for a small school like Western Reserve, going to play a school like Conneaut. And Conneaut, not from the area, they don't really play that many teams from the area, but I say Western Reserve ends up holding off by a final score of 24-7.
I'm taking Western Reserve as well in this game, bringing in John Armani, who was just dominant with that LeBray team. When you saw Armani left, LeBray's first game, they were a shell of their former selves. In that one, I expect them to turn it around a little bit, but now they're going up against Valley Christian and Andy Hake, the guy you just mentioned, formerly a Western Reserve. Great guy he is, by the way. I love calling his games with Valley Christian. Absolute legend. But this Western Reserve team, I think that first game, they really showed how this offense has evolved from prior years. I've called them, I think, each of the last 2 seasons, I've seen them for at least one game, and every time it felt like they were just one or two key plays, your key drives away from turning that offense into something special. This first game, at least, I think we saw that. Conneaut's got a pretty decent defense. They lost their first one 15-14 to Edgewood. A nail biter in that first one. I think they might have a little bit of that hangover effect in this second game, trying to just press too much. I think it burns them. I think it's close again, but I'd go 19-13 towards Western.
Yep. I go with that.
Yeah, right there. Sorry, you're cut. Were you? I don't know if you're talking about Western Reserve still, real quick, or what were you talking about?
Yeah, Western.
Yeah, Western Reserve. Yeah, I want to say that one Western Reserve again wins. Conneaut has a really good defense. You saw it against Edgewood right there. They only lost by 1 point. So maybe that's going to be Western Reserve's problem for a little bit right there. But I feel like it's going to be more of a defensive game, more low scoring. I think Western Reserve is going to win. I want to say probably by a final score of at least 14-8 or 16-8 if you want to maybe count a safety happening.
Next game up, Youngstown East taking on East Cleveland Shaw Cardinals, who lost their first game to Mayfield 50-20. East lost, but they only lost 28-8 to Hubbard, which I'll say I think a quality loss from East. I know they lost it, but the hold of Hubbard just at 28 points. I know they're rebuilding and restructuring that offense over there too, but I'm going East in this game. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I don't think either one of these teams have phenomenal offenses, but I think East has a decent enough defense to pull this one out. I'm going 10-7 on it.
10-7. Ooh, that is. I mean, that's some score there.
It's a barn burner.
Yeah, I feel like Cleveland Shaw is going to pull it out. East is going to fight, but again, it's a young East team. Mark Asen, of course, the coach, interviewed him, really good guy. He's just trying to rebuild, and East has been problem with East. They've been on rebuild since 2018, and they lost a lot of those guys, of course, due to Cheney getting back their athletics. That was gone for a long time, and they're still trying to find out what can we do over here. How can we get all these players and become a good, successful football team like what we were that 2018 season? And it's been really, I want to say, kind of difficult for them. I think it's, again, as you said, it's going to be a close game. I just feel it's going to be Cleveland Shaw coming out with a victory in this one.
Yeah, I got East in this one. I say they will pull out the victory. They will pull out like a 6-point victory. But as you said, OB, they kind of been downwards from losing all those guys to Cheney. They had a really good playoff team back in 2018. Of course, coming up just short to a very good Girard team that actually ended up going to state back in 2018. But I say East pulls this off by a final score of 17-10.
Alec, what happened right there? Did the courthouse have another fire alarm issue?
No, I'm no longer at the courthouse. I don't know what was just beeping.
Because I saw that happen. I didn't know if they had another fire alarm issue again right there. I mean, it seems like it always happens.
Yeah, no, but back to it here as I'm a little distracted off of I don't know what. I hope there's not a fire going on in my apartment. That would be unfortunate. I'm going to make a pick on this one, hand it to you, and go double check what's going on out there in a second. So United East Canton. I like United in this game. The EOAC is so talented. East Canton lost their first time out to a really good Dalton program. But I got United in this one, and I'm going to step aside real quick. You guys hold down the fort for a minute. I got to check what was just beat.
Hold on. All right, go see what's happening right there. Yeah, well, Rick, so this one, I actually do have United in this one. United, again, a very talented team. They won 28-7 over here against I had it right there. They won 20 against Waterloo. They won 28-7. This is a really talented United team. I feel like they have a lot more skilled players than what they've had in the past. The linemen are a lot bigger. Of course, last year they finished 8-2 as well. So a team that's always pretty interesting to watch, especially pretty good in the postseason, depending on what happens with them. Don't be surprised in this one, Ricks. I have United over here against East Canton. East Canton right now 0-1. Their last game they lost to Dalton to the 13 score. Dalton, of course, a really talented team outside the area. So in my opinion, this one, I just think it's going to be United going 2-0.
Yeah, I see. East Canton will bring the heat. They will bring some good defense. They will bring some good offensive styles. But I think United, they are a team up on the rise. I think the Golden Eagles pull off this one 20-10.
I like it. I'm all good. No fires, no nothing. I don't know what the beeping was. I'm hoping maybe it was just a USPS truck. I got all the windows open here, so I'm hoping it was just outside. But back to it. East Palestine taking on Toronto. I got Toronto in this game. East Palestine, they're improving. I mean, I think we saw that in week 1, but they're 1-30 in their last 31. They're, I think, a long way from getting back to that win. I'm hoping they can pull an upset. I want to see it happen this season. I think if they're going to do it, I think they can pull one at some point this year. I don't think it's against Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto's just very good. Of course, you got a coach from Toronto who actually coached here in the area. Josh Frankie coached at Newton Falls for a little while, so he does know the teams in the area here very well. So Toronto, very good, traditional football school, rich in football tradition. I just don't see East Palestine. Like you said, they do have some improvement, but they still have a long ways to go to be a good competitor for the playoffs. I just see Toronto winning this one 30-8.
It seems like East Palestine has just been on a little bit downward for a while, ever since I want to say the early 2000s when they played actually Ursulin in the playoff game. I want to say maybe that was around 2002, 2003, but it's been a tough good number of decades, I should actually say, for East Palestine right now. After coach got to switch up, losing players, because of either just going to different schools or ineligibility, so on and so forth. In this one over here, I do want to say Toronto's probably going to win. And again, I hope East Palestine can pull up a big upset. That'd be cool. But I just, Toronto, again, is just one of those talented teams over here outside the area, around an hour away. I mean, if you take a look really at all this team has done over here, once again, they're 1-0. They beat Wellsville pretty good in the first one of those EOAC guys, 36-6, the final score. It's really talented defense over here. And last Toronto, I mean, it was a little down here for them, but they're getting back over here on track. And,
he's cutting in and out here.
Yeah, I think he's lagging.
Who, me?
Your internet's slowing down a little bit there, OB.
Our internet's slowing down a little. Well, everyone's always on the Wi-Fi over there. So, I mean, I think it was coming good for me. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Garfield taking on Lakeview, our next matchup on it. Lakeview got the big upset in week 1. I'm going to go a little quick here. I'd like to get into this one, but I'm going to go Garfield. I've seen the G-Men the last 2 years. They're always impressive, and the fact that they came out there and took on Cardinal week 1, 38-12, I think it's going to be a fun one for a good half of football. I think it's going to be tight, low scoring. I think Garfield probably pulls away 24-13.
Yeah, I think Garfield just very – very explosive offense. Of course, they do run an old school single wing back in the 50s, so they do know how to run that single wing to perfection. And Lakeview, they did play like a unit last week. I was actually at that game as a fan, watching them just like upset LeBray, just handing them a shellacking 34-7. Of course, their quarterback Natali had a great game. Their running back Toth had a good game. It was just a heck of a game all around for the Lakeview Bulldogs and Coach Sam Bellino. But I think Garfield will pull out this one 30-18.
Well, first thing first, how's my Wi-Fi? That's my first thing, if you can actually hear me right now.
Yeah, you're good. We got you.
Oh, you got me right there. Okay,
yeah.
Well, in this one, Garfield's super good. Lakeview, they got a big win against LeBray, and I think it's the first time we're seeing right now Lakeview possibly become a real powerhouse over here. I'm not surprised over here. Give me Lakeview in this one. I wish it was like Lee Corso right now. I'd just get like a dog head and just put it over me over here.
That would be nice to see. But here in the show, actually, we don't have helmets. We do have an upset bell, though. So I'll go ahead and ring it there for you because you don't have any prompts yet. But I'll give you the ring there. That'd be one heck of an upset, though. Geneva Struthers, quick pick here. I'm going Struthers on it. I like him. Geneva's a pretty good team, but I'm going Homer on it.
Yeah, I like Struthers. They had a very good, impressive, dominating win last week against St. Thomas Aquinas, and I believe Struthers will just pull it off. They're just going to be too hard to handle.
Struthers last week, they won that game with a backup quarterback too. Now they got their starter who was out in the scrimmage and actually the first game of the season because of an ankle injury. He's back this week, and they beat Aquinas on Louisville pretty good. 45-6 was the final score in that one. So I don't be surprised now with their main man healthy. Struthers, I think they pull away in this one.
Next matchup, Harvey at Jefferson. I'm taking Harvey in this game. They're a solid program over there. Jefferson's a fun team. I like seeing them. But I just think this is a good Harvey program. I like staying close to home on the picks. I normally like taking the YSN teams, but I got to jump off of it. I'm going Harvey in this one.
Yeah, I got Harvey as well. Harvey just too good. They play some very tough schools up there around Lake County. Jefferson, yeah, I do like them, but they got a little more ways to go. They can definitely do some improvement. I believe they beat Grand Valley, if I'm correct, last week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
But
66-27 they beat them.
oh yeah, that was a dominating win by the
Yeah.
Falcons. But I believe they will just come up short against the Harvey team.
All right, next
Not
game.
so fast, my friend. You know why? I'm over here picking the Jefferson Falcons with this upset victory over here. I mean, Jefferson, let's be honest, football program used to be kind of a dud of stuff. They've been rebuilding for years, and they finally got back over here to a lot of their winning ways over here. I think Jefferson, in my opinion, takes this one. They get the big upset over here and shock the Valley tonight or this weekend.
Ricks, we're going to your game on this next one. Howland taking on Ravenna. Both teams lost week 1. What are your thoughts on this team? Break it down for us. Take it.
Okay, so Howland had a good going last week. They had a decent going. I saw a lot of nice potential from junior quarterback John Perry, who hurled some deep balls, of course, long balls, including that 80-yard touchdown pass to Nicholas Leisure in the third quarter to bring it to within 7. But I think the offense was just too inconsistent on the night. I think the offensive line just needs to do a little bit better of protecting Perry, because Perry under pressure, if you get Perry under pressure, then the Ravenna will have their name, but Ravenna does have some nice athletic guys such as Pavel Henderson, and it was a very good game last year out in Howland. Howland came up short by a final score of 20-13, and this is considering the fact that Ravenna was a playoff team last year. They actually made the playoffs, finished 7-4, but I think Howland will find a way to get past that athletic Ravenna team, and John Perry will have a good night, and hopefully they can get some carries from running back Marco Masucci, but I think Howland pulls this one by a final score of 19-16.
You know, in this one over here, I would love to select Howland. I think Howland, again, is going to make it close. They have to give the ball to Masucci. They have to have him as your running back. He's there for a reason. They gave you the ball. Sometimes when they did that a little bit last game, a couple of plays against Niles, they did it. Then they just kept on passing, and it only worked for a couple of plays. There was the deep bombs to Nicholas Leisure. They got to do that if they want to win. However, in this one, Ravenna, I mean, really, really tough team over here. Really talented program out there in Ravenna. They have, so again, as Rick said, pretty good players. So in this one, I'm sorry to say, give me Ravenna in this one. The blue field wins it.
I think I like Howland in this game. And one big reason, they're playing down a division. I know Ravenna got the better of them last year, but I think this Ravenna team took a step back as well. They lost to Lorraine in their first game, and Lorraine was not a team that should have stuck with them. They've had good teams over there. This was not one of their best ones in that group. You look at a Ravenna team that was 7-4 last year. I think they probably revert back to where they were prior to COVID in that 2020 year when they were 4-7. I think this is just one of those regression years you see from Ravenna playing up a division against Howland. I got the Tigers taking it.
Okay. Hey, sometimes we got to pick on some different sides over here, people. We can't always pick the same. You know what I mean?
Hubbard at Greenville. A lot of people talk about this. A lot of people are liking Greenville, but I'm going to make it simple on this one. Hubbard's a really good program over there. I'm taking Hub.
Yeah, I'll take Hubbard. Of course, Coach Hoffman always gets those guys coached up and ready to go. Always a playoff caliber team. Going to play an out-of-state team, playing a PA team, but of course they will bring that Ohio passion, Ohio football with them. I just see Hubbard pulling this one by a final score of 27-6.
Oh, PA football, of course, as we all know, starts a week later than the Valley over here now. Last year they finished 7-4, but they started off the season with a big-time loss. It was to Farrell. So in this one, in my opinion, I just think Greenfield, they're going to lose again over here. A lot more experience, I want to say, on Hubbard's side. And plus, they had the extra game with that extra first week. So give me Hubbard in this one.
I like it. Next game. I'm excited for this one. Matt Mayer's on the call. Liberty at Girard. I think Liberty can keep it close, but if Girard plays like they did week 1, I don't know if they will, but if they keep that up again, I think it's going to be, 1, a good season, and 2, this should be a pretty good week for them I'll go quick here. We got 14 minutes left on the show before we hand it over to the Power Hour Super Show up next on your sports network. I'm going 35 Girard to 19 for Liberty. I don't know if their offense has quite found the rhythm yet.
Yeah, I like it's a good storied rivalry, the Battle of Belmont, that goes back a long way. But as you mentioned, Girard, a very explosive team, very powerful team, and Girard is just going to be too much for this Liberty team, who did put 20 points, as you mentioned, against Western Reserve. But I just see Girard pulling it out 40-21.
Boys, all I got to say over this is that your boy over here is going for another upset. Liberty wins in this one over here. Give me Liberty in this one. Final score, I want to say 28-21.
Well, the viewers on the show know I'm normally a Liberty guy. I now live just 2 minutes away from the high school, and I saw their game last night against Brookfield, volleyball action. They got a ton of athletes at that school. It's really impressive how they've really started that athletics program. It was going well. It has shot straight up, man. They are getting some really amazing talents out of them in the recent years.
Oh yeah, they did
all the coaches.
Yeah, they did lose DC Farrell to Ursulin, but yeah, they do have some very good athletes out at Liberty. I saw them a little bit last year in basketball season. I haven't seen the volleyball team yet, but I'm pretty sure they do have some good athletes there. Of course, you saw the girls basketball team very good last year, but Girard just ends up pulling up in the end.
All right, next game on the ledger, Lowellville at Campbell. This Lowellville offense is just a menace to society. They've pretty much led the Youngstown area offensively the last 3 years. The last 2 years I've been doing it. I think they're going to lead it again this year. Campbell, they stuck with Valley Christian for a long time in that last game in week one. It was a game that was 14-7 at halftime, and Valley Christian just turned it on in the third quarter, and it all stemmed from a 50-yard touchdown pass from Jordan Pete into the end zone to Vashawn Gurley. And that right there, it took all of the wind out of the sails for Campbell, and they just were not able to recover. This game here today, they have to just keep pushing forward. They can't get caught up and get down if that momentum doesn't swing their way at some point in this game. That's where they got burned last week. I think Lowellville comes out the gates quick with one of those big hitters that they just love to throw at you. And I think they just grab that momentum immediately. I don't think Campbell's got a chance here. I'm going, I'll say it 54-10.
Yeah, I think Campbell, they do have some good potential. Coach Andrew King in this second year, trying to get his guys coached up, trying to get them to improve. But yeah, Lowellville, led by their star quarterback, Vinny Ballone, just a menace to society, and a very great win last week against Columbiana. And it was a close game last year out in Lowellville. Lowellville ended up winning 34-20, but I think it's going to be a lot more Lowellville this year. I see them winning this one 40-8.
Just simple and short over here. I know that Louisville, I mean, I know a few people that work out down in one of them's actually one of the fathers, one of his sons actually, like 5 in the morning over there, grinds every day until he goes like to high school and then practice on. I mean, he's going to become a really good wide receiver. His name's Michael right there. As I said, Finney Blown, quarterback. Give me Louisville in this one. I'm going to say 45-7.
I like the picks, guys. All right, we're going to rapid fire a couple of these ones off here as we're down to the final 10 minutes on the show. Starting down here, Leetonia at Martins Ferry. I think I like Leetonia coming into this one, guys.
Yes, I just see Martins Ferry taking this one. Leetonia had a little bit of a setback last week against Jackson Milton, but I think Martins Ferry will pull out. It will be a close game, but I just see Leetonia falling up short in the end.
Yeah, give me Martins Ferry in this one too.
And I just realized I contradicted myself. The picks I made here in the pick'ems, I said Martins Ferry, so I'm going to switch it back and go Martins Ferry on that one. Yeah, my bad.
Leetonia's team that's improving, but I just think Martins Ferry, they just have a lot more experience. They're gonna win this one pretty easy.
Next game we got on here, it's Canfield at Bellevue. I got Canfield taking this one. They're an impressive team.
Yeah, I got Canfield. Of course, they had a scare last week against West Branch, a very good team, by the way, but Canfield pulls off against Bellevue.
Yeah, give me Canfield on this one. I mean, again, Brock Lowry, quarterback, Indiana commit. I mean, against this team over here, what more can you say over here except though Canfield let them get the 2-0 after the end of this.
Saturday game, Sebring versus Matthews. Matthews pulled it off last week. Sebring, their football program's not quite back to where it needs to be to take a win like this. I got Matthews. They look good so far.
Yeah, I got Matthews. Coach Bill Boren, who I actually know from when he coached out in Southington. Coach Boren has those guys coached up. A very dominating win against Steubenville Central Catholic. And I think Sebring, they need the numbers. Matthews ends up winning this one 32-0.
I want to say the same thing. Probably 35-0. Coach Bill Boren, most talented coaches in the area, one of the oldest coaches in the area too, with so much experience on his belt. And I'll tell you what, right now, it's gonna be kind of ugly. And it's a shame for Sebring too, but we'll see what happens.
Next pick on it. Cardinal Mooney kept it close against Boardman last week. They got Lake Catholic today. This has been a pretty split pick on the pick'ems. It looks like Lake Catholic has been favored so far, but I think Mooney's taking a step forward. I think they take this win after the close loss to Boardman last week.
Yeah, very close loss to Boardman, but Lake Catholic, very good team out by the lake. But I just see Lake Catholic pulling out a close one. I say 20-16.
20-16. I see Maryland Catholic honestly win this one pretty good. I mean, they beat Dover, Dover's always a pretty decent team, 16-13. I feel like they pull away from Mooney over here. They'll probably win this one, I want to say maybe 31 to about 17.
Fair points there. This one should be interesting, this next game on here. Warren JFK taking on a team from west of Toledo, the Delta Panthers, coming all the way across the state to take on Warren JFK. I think it should be a really fun matchup, should be close. But at the end of it, I got the JFK Eagles coming out on top.
Yeah, I like the Eagles. Very great in their 44-14 win last week against Champion. No stranger to the Toledo area either. I think in 2014 they went out to Pandora, Gilboa, so they do know the Toledo area a little bit. But I got the JFK Eagles pulling it off.
Yeah, JFK. I mean, they have a bunch of those talented coaches right there, getting all the players ready. They're going to win this one pretty good.
McDonald, Columbiana. I got Columbiana taking it. I like McDonald's in prior years, but I don't know. They haven't impressed me yet. I think Columbiana's got just enough to get through this one.
Yeah, I think the McDonald had a little bit of a down year last year and a little bit of a downhill spiral for the Coach Williams and the Blue Devils. I think Columbiana, with their storied tradition, I think they will pull it off against the Blue Devils 30-20.
And this one's, again, McDonald's a young team, Columbiana's a young team, but I think, in my opinion, Columbiana has the more of the numbers and the experience. Give it to the Clippers in this one.
Next game, Newton Falls, Jackson Milton. Jackson Milton seems to be a good favorite going into this one. Both teams looked impressive in week one, but I got Newton Falls. Give me the Tigers.
Yeah, I like Newton Falls as well. Jackson Milton, very great. 54 points against Latonia last week, but Newton Falls, they are a very good team as well. Greg Lazari, the coach for the Tigers, will coach them up and get them ready to go. Fierce rivalry game, but I see Newton Falls 21, Jackson Milton 14.
In this one, I want to say Newton Falls. They beat them last year. Jackson Milton better than what they've been in the past, but I think the Tigers take this one.
Mineral Ridge take on one of our new schools here on the network, I believe, in Orange, but I got Mineral Ridge upsetting that first appearance on the network for Orange.
Yeah, I got Mineral Ridge as well. Coach Brian Shaner and his guys, very talented, explosive Rams team going in against a team from a little out of the area, but in our YSN viewing area, Orange. I see the Rams pulling this one off 32-16.
You know, Orange lost the beach win. This one pretty good. The Rams got to blow out their first game over here, a big-time win. Give me Mineral Ridge in this one. They win this one pretty big. I want to say 38-6.
All right, we got to go 12 more games here in the next 3 minutes. Give me these quick. Ursulin versus Padawa Franciscan. I got Ursulin.
Ursulin, very, very easy.
Ursulin, yeah, talented offense. They're going to be fine.
Louisville taking on Poland. A little bit of split. Couple people like Poland here on the pick'ems, but I got Louisville.
I got Louisville.
From what I saw week one, it's going to be Louisville over here getting it.
I like it. Champion Rootstown. This has got a lot of people separated here, but I like Champion over the Rovers.
Yeah, I think Rootstown pulls it off.
I got Rootstown on my picks. Give me Rootstown.
Salem taking Beaver Local. Surprisingly, I see a couple people taking Beaver Local in this game. I like Salem.
Yeah, I like Salem too.
I'm big on Salem. They have a big pass game. Let's get it.
Valley Christian taking on LeBray. High-profile game for both teams. LeBray needs to win, but I got VC. Give me those War Eagles.
Yeah, VC going in against LeBray, they'll get it.
Shout out to Coach Hake right there. Valley Christian all the way in this one. They win.
Wellsville and Edison. I think we missed Edison's game last week here on the network's miscommunication between us and the school, but we got him this time around. We're good. Wellsville, Edison. I got Edison.
I got Wellsville.
I got Edison in this one. Wellsville, again, talented team, but they're on a little bit of a rebuild. I think Edison pulls it off.
West Branch, after the hard week one game, takes it a little bit easier this time. They got Woodbridge coming into town, so I got West Branch taking it handedly.
West Branch in a blowout.
West Branch, I mean, that's just a talented offense right there. You saw what they were able to do against a talented team like Canfield. I think they blow them out pretty good.
Southern versus Crestview. I love this game, but I think the EOAC is on its way up. Give me Southern.
Give me Crestview.
You know, Southern in this one, they have that pretty good running back that our boss man DJ was talking about in 21 WFMJ. I like him. Give me Southern.
Waterloo taking on Strasburg Franklin. I got Waterloo in this one.
Give me Strasburg Franklin over the Vikings.
You know, in this one over here, I'm looking over my picks. I got Waterloo in this one. Give me Waterloo. I think they win it.
Lisbon on the road against Fairport Harding. I think it was a good game between the two last year. I got Lisbon taking it this year. I like what they got.
Yeah, Lisbon looks very good, scoring 40 against Wyndham. I got Lisbon.
Yeah, I got Lisbon too. I think they're going to put a pretty good beat down over there on Fairport.
Edgewood taking on Grand Valley here tonight. I got Edgewood.
I got Edgewood pulling it off.
Yeah, give me Edgewood on that one too.
All right, final game. Rittman taking on and hosting the Wyndham Bombers. Give me the Bombers on this one. I like Wyndham.
I think I got Rittman pulling off a tight one.
I got Wyndham on that one. As you said, the Bombers over here, this team over here right now, pretty good defense. We'll just have to see what happens. Again, defense wins championships. We'll see if that defense can pull out a big one here tonight.
Well, we're going to have great weather all night on the network. A few scattered showers here and there. I think part of the cell just passed me, but it's all heading towards the southeast. So we should be good by 7 o'clock tonight. First game for the network tonight, South Range at 5 p.m. They're getting things started nice and early for us. Power Hour Super Show coming up next. Thank you, Ian O'Brien and Noah Ricks, for joining me here on the Casual Sports Podcast today. As always, I've been Alec Cabrera. Before we wrap up, real quick, got to just throw this out here, what we do every week. Highlight of the week for me, we're back, baby. High school football is here, and college is coming up this weekend. So
I agree with that.
Yeah, that'll do it here for the show. Thanks again to our guests for making the first special guest appearance here on Casual Sports Podcast history. Round of applause. You guys killed it. We'll send it next to Power Hour on your sports network.